So I had a pretty annoying weekend and I wanted to talk about it and see if you guys feel like I have a right to be annoyed. Okay, so my mom is in the nursing home. She recently had a gallbladder explode and like some other health problems. So she's in the nursing home recently. For at least a year before she was in the nursing home, her husband was in the nursing home. And they've been married like a few years. I mean, he wasn't my dad. I didn't grow up with him or anything. But anyway, so he's been in the nursing home at least a full year, probably longer, maybe a couple years. And like they weren't doing well. I mean, he's been unsteady on his feet for a while. He falls frequently, has had a lot of issues because of the falling. My mom's not in good health even before the whole gallbladder thing. And she had a lot of complications with that. So neither of them are in good health. And because of this, for at least a year, I've been pretty much begging them to consider selling their house, which is out in the middle of nowhere, is in really bad shape. And I kept trying to convince them to try to get into assisted living because they have the financial resources. I was pretty sure that they could. And also, like, it would be so much easier on them. They wouldn't have the lawn care. They wouldn't be isolated out in the middle of nowhere. They can make friends and have relationships because they're also very lonely and isolated. So forever, I just kept trying to convince them to consider this. And always the answer was no, he's not willing to give up his home. He's not willing to move. And so, I mean, what can I do about it? And even as recently as 2 weeks ago when I visited them, he was still pretty much like, I'm moving home. Like, that was his attitude. I'm going home. And so because of that, even though their house is mouse infested and it is bedbug infested, my husband and I have been trying to clean it up, and we spent like a lot of money on stuff to try to get rid of the mouse problem and cleaning supplies and everything. And then we go to visit them today, and after like trying to clean the house yesterday, and I mean, it's just awful. It's an awful mess. I mean, we're somewhat putting our own health at risk to try to clean it up. And then I found out today that my mom's husband, his son, who, as far as I know, hasn't seen his dad like the entire time that he's been in the nursing home, his son suddenly shows up and pretty much tells his dad, like, you need to go into assisted living, like, the house isn't livable. And suddenly the dad is like, oh, great idea, son. And like, so now they're just like rushing it, and which is fine. I mean, I'm glad that they're doing it, but I'm kind of pissed off that like I've been like trying to get them to see reason. And when I say them, I mean him, because my mom, you know, she was kind of on board with it all, but she knew he wouldn't be. And so I feel like totally ignored, like not listened to. I almost, like, part of me is like, is this a sexist thing? Because her husband, like, he's old-fashioned in a lot of ways I don't particularly like, and he's like a big Trump supporter, and not even a reasonable Trump supporter. He's like, yeah, well, let's not go into that. But it makes me so frustrated, and I'm irritated that, you know, we've been putting all this effort into trying to get their house, you know, in a livable condition, which, I mean, we haven't even come close, but, you know, we were trying because he was so adamant on going home, and then just out of nowhere, it was all for nothing. And it's just frustrating.